up, everybody? It's your girl Adalosa, just in case you didn't know so, and you're tuning in right here to the Entrepreneur of New York segment at the New York Dose. And I'm sitting here with the one and only, the most influential entrepreneur of 2019, Blake Wynn.
How's it going?
Yes, thank you so much for being here at the Dose House, at the Dose Empire. We're drenched. I don't know if you guys can see. It's raining.
It was pretty bad.
It was pouring here in New York City, and me and Blake, we both got stuck.
Yeah.
In the pouring rain, but it's all right. We still made it here. I hit up Blake. I was like, Blake, are we still on? I know it's pouring because as soon as like a temperature, like crazy temperature happens in New York, everyone just stays indoors.
Yeah,
like,
it was a little worse than just a temperature. It's a pretty bad flash.
Right, it is. We all got the warnings on our phones.
Yeah, like several times, and rightfully so. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, so Blake, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from.
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Las Vegas. I just moved out here this past August to go to Fordham University. I was in a business school out there. And,
uptown?
Yeah, I live in Midtown. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 11 years old, probably even earlier than that. Like I would argue earlier than that, but like the first real active business was probably at 11, and since then I've done a lot of different things, from being a YouTuber to being I'm an NFLPA certified agent.
Yes,
car washes when I was 8.
I saw that. You've been out here.
Trying my best.
Okay, wait. I just want to take it back to 11 years old, being an entrepreneur at 11 years old. So I read also that you were sold sneakers. Well, did that start around that age, or was the car?
Yeah. So at 11 was selling sneakers. So at 11 I kind of took over my mom's eBay account. And by took it over, I mean she wasn't a seller of anything. She just had eBay to buy because that's kind of the platform you used in 2010. And I found 2 pairs of shoes at the outlet mall in Utah, and I just bought them because it said they were $19.99 in retail, and they were $200 suggested retail. And for whatever reason that like clicked in my head is there's got to be a space to make money here.
Yes.
And I was always looking for creative ways to like make a few dollars, and so I bought both pairs, and the next day they both sold for, one sold for like 104 and one sold for like 108. And so
$20 sneakers.
Yeah.
11 years old.
Yeah.
What?
I was like, all right, here we go. And it, honestly, it wasn't so weird having money. Like, it was never really about the money. I liked trying to make it. Like, even now, that's how I am. Like, I find I like really have kind of turned entrepreneurship into like a game, where I play it as in like really at this point. Like, for me, money's more like how you keep score versus like what you're actually trying
getting
to get.
And buying and
And so like for me, the way I played the game when I was on eBay is I was always trying to make my feedback number go up while maintaining 100% positive feedback. And I did that for 2 years. I became a top rated seller on eBay, which I give to the top.
At 13.
Yeah.
Oh
that's when I became a top seller. Yeah. And so they do that for the top 1% of eBay stores. They give you like a gold ribbon, and it really helps your sales because it was kind of like, in a weird way, that was almost like the equivalent of like being a legit influencer and having a verification check on Instagram. That's what being a top seller on eBay meant as far as your store was concerned. And so I got that at 13, and I resold until 16, and that's when I wanted to add marketing to what I was doing.
And because that comes kind of hand in hand, because once you have your business, you have to let people know about it, right?
Yeah, I had 2 employees back then, and I was trying to find different ways to scale the business.
Wait, you had 2 employees I'm still just, I mean, I know like, you come from a family of entrepreneurs and all that stuff, so it's like I'm making it sound like so crazy, but I mean even then, so I mean you always hear like kids who families have all these businesses and stuff, but they're still like just staying in their parents' house, not doing anything or comfortable. But you like really took after like your family's like legacy and like all that.
For sure.
Stuff went straight into you.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of interesting because there's like a very thin line where a lot of people either come from a lot of money and then they're like, well, I'm gonna get this. They're comfortable, and then it doesn't matter what I do, let's just like have fun with life. And then there's a group of people that don't come from it, so they're not used to being around success, so it seems ridiculously difficult to obtain. And I kind of like tiered in the middle where I was like, okay, like I come from a good background, like my parents did very well, my uncle, which is I'm sure what you're referring to, but like I wanted that and more. And so I was like, they've shown me success is obtainable, but I still want it for myself. I don't really want theirs. And so I was like very, very lucky with the way that I was raised, especially by my mom, to like be put in a position where I understood the value of like trying to do things on your own.
Getting your own. And I think a lot of people that do, you know, quote unquote, come for money and all that stuff, those people don't get a lot of recognition for that, because what people don't understand also, like I was just saying, like you can come for money and you could just literally be chilling, like who wouldn't want to just be chilling? I mean, not us. We're not thinking that, but I feel like majority of the people, and they get like those bad reps. But like, what about those people like you who like, yes, I do come from money, but that doesn't mean anything because I have my own shit now. Like, you know, like. So.
I mean, my stance on it is honestly like, and this is a lot to do with YouTube. So fast forward, so 16, I started a YouTube channel. 40 days later.
And that's like, I mean, YouTube, especially your generation, like it's everything.
I mean, not that it wasn't already ridiculously popular, but I got in like maybe 6 months before it was like, I mean, now it's really the number one job that kids want. Like the generation of kids 8 to 12, like number one job is YouTube. That's not a job. It's like.
Trust me, I have nieces and nephews. They're like, they literally watch just reviews on toys on YouTube, and I was like, this is freaking nuts. But like, that's what they're aspiring to be because of everything that they offer, or what they're thinking that you can get easily, even though YouTube is just as much work.
it's more, but more so than that, like you can't make it on YouTube if you want to be a famous YouTuber, in my opinion. Now, and one of you guys who's watching this can prove me wrong, but I think that there's something more that has to be attached to it. It's like, I was trying to market my business, so for me, I wasn't like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to become famous. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I didn't look at YouTube like that. And so, you know, 45 days after I started my channel, I had 10,000 subscribers, and people came up to me asking for pictures. Like, not a lot of people, but it was still like, I didn't even realize.
45 days after 10,000?
Yeah, it went really quick. 8 months after I started, I had 100K.
Did you start first marketing through like Facebook, Instagram, or was it straight YouTube?
Straight YouTube. Okay. I reached out to a YouTuber. There was one at the time. I was like a couple YouTubers that did sneakers, but really one that was like the biggest one. Right. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey, like, what would it take to get like some kind of feature or something? And he was like, honestly, like, you have an insane collection. Like, I just checked out your Instagram. Like, I'd love to come film it because it'll do well on my channel. And I'm like, okay, great. So he filmed it, and then overnight kind of took off. But for me, it was more so like, okay, cool. Now I have a lot of traffic, so I can drive traffic to my eBay. But then once I kind of got caught up in like people wanting pictures and other stuff like that, I was like, oh, that's way cooler. You know, I was 16. I was a sophomore in high school.
You're like, wait, hold up. Everybody's noticing in the hallways, like.
Not so much that.
Not in school?
No, so I went to a small school.
Las Vegas at 16?
Yeah, I was still in Vegas. My school was pre-K through 12, 55 kids in my grade. So I was like siblings with everybody that was there. So I was like, I mean, they knew about it, and it was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And like, it was very weird. Like, I had a ridiculously isolated school. So it was like, you were friends with everyone in your grade, but you didn't really associate with other grades. And I started getting like, I remember the one time it like really hit me that like, oh wow, like what I'm doing is actually getting noticed by my classmates. When I was 17, the year after I started, because I started in May, so I hadn't really gotten anywhere when school ended in the end of May. But the following May, during what's it called, yearbook signing, I noticed it when all of a sudden like these like younger kids from the entire middle school, like freshmen, like
from pre-K,
the line of people, it was like a signing. So like that's when I thought that was pretty cool. But honestly, like I always just liked having, my thought was this, like I feel like I can show people like a side of trying to start your own business regardless of what I come from, but like show it in a way that makes it feel like it's attainable, because it is, right? Like, yes, I did come from things, but I really started my business with $40 and an eBay account, which is free to start. Then I started YouTube, which is also free to start. The first videos were from like a camcorder from like Walmart from 10 years ago that I found in my mom's drawer. Right. You know what I mean? Like everything I've started has cost nothing to start. And I've documented the process to show people that it is doable, versus like, not that there's anything against it, but I didn't ever make videos like putting 10,000 Orbeez in my pool. Like I wanted to like provide like a kind of value, which is why like I'm really excited about the podcast space, because I feel like it's such a good platform to provide value and entertain at the same time.
Yes, for sure. So okay, you started with sneakers, and then how did that transfer? Then you have the agency. Yeah. And then what's the other company? Isn't it 3? I
have an e-commerce store called Shop Just Win. It was something I started in 2018. So I stopped reselling in mid 2016 when the YouTube took off.
You stopped selling
I stopped selling sneakers.
You were just like done with it?
It wasn't so much I was done with it. I was like, this is so much better, right?
Yeah, right.
But the reality is like your truth comes back to you, and I really liked the ability of like taking products and selling them and having like a hand in that, even if it wasn't nearly as financially successful as taking sponsorships and doing meet and greets and things like that. And so at first I just did merchandise. I did branded shirts and shorts and hats. I mean, got really in depth with it. Phone cases, pencils, like literally, stickers. If you could think of it, I sold it and signed it. Yeah, literally, there was everything. And then I was like, you know what? I want to start selling like sneakers on here. Like I had this site. I was in the top like 0.1% in traffic and sales just off my merchandise out of all Shopify-based sites. And I was like, I have this much traffic. Like instead of selling a $30 shirt, what if I sold like a $500 shoe? Like this could be a way bigger business that has like legitimate scalability. And so I started doing that. I started reselling on there, and
you're a little mind. I want your mind. At that age, like I'm just thinking of you like in your room and like your mom making dinner and you're like just thinking like scheming like and like thinking of ways like that's brilliant.
It's just
sorry, I'm just caught up in that.
You know,
it's like yeah, right. Like but like to have that at such a young age is like pretty like amazing and such a blessing. But go on, sorry. I have to just acknowledge that again.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean it was really just like even now like with this sports agency, I was doing fine on YouTube. I had 400,000 subscribers and I had just finished going on tour. Like everything was going pretty well.
Right.
And since I was a very, very little kid, I loved football more than anything. Like since I was 6, 7 years old, collecting football cards, buying all the money I made, I was spending on memorabilia. Not when I started reselling shoes at Bali, but like all the like car wash stuff. Like that was all just to literally buy like signed photos of my favorite football players. And so I started, once I built a following, I was like, honestly, like maybe now I have the credentials to get noticed by these players. So I literally would start DMing players, like 50 a day until it'd be like no more DMing. And maybe like 1 or 2 of them would respond and they started following me and we started building friendships and I went on vacations with some, like I had, you know, the Pittsburgh Steelers tight end.
I saw the list on that article.
Yeah, well he's a client, but I mean I've known him since way before that. He came with my family my senior year in high school. We went to Hawaii for my spring break and he came with and like really built relationships with these guys and they would always hit me up, hey can you get me this shirt or these shoes or whatever from your sponsors? And when they were my friends I was like yeah like happy to whatever. And it got to the point where I had like 30 or 40 of these guys because I'd been DMing so many and building so many relationships. I built them all off the same premise of hey like I can help you get shoes if you need anything like whatever. And it turned into I was like well you guys can get sponsored separate from my deal because essentially like I had at one point like I don't even mind saying the number I had like a $12,000 a month sneaker brand deal and I was plowing through every cent of the credit plus more buying these guys the shoes. Like I wasn't even using it on myself and I was like but you can get these deals. You have more followers than I have on Instagram, right? I have 100K. I mean they were more so sponsoring me from the YouTube side but nonetheless I was like you guys can get these deals and they were like, okay, get me involved.
And isn't it crazy? You would think that once you get signed or like it's something that it'll come with like attached like a publicist or something, but they
don't have publicists. And there's nothing. I mean, there are other sports marketing companies, but no one's really. When I say the sports marketing companies, like there's people that make an effort to get them like their Nike deal and their Adidas deal, but beyond those like massive like 5-year-long deals, no one's trying to sell like sponsored Instagram posts to like a water company and stuff. And I was like. Well, that's stupid because if you're an NFL guy, like unless you build like a Tom Brady level brand, you have like, that's your window to make your money. And then once you're done, like you're basically, even with everybody else, you graduated college and now you're 30 years old. I mean, your resume doesn't really apply to any business besides coaching or something like that. So it's like, make your money while you can. And so I was like, honestly guys, like I can get you more than just like a deal with like these sneaker apps. Like I can get you a deal with anybody. Like I know how to cold reach out. Like I was always my own manager. So most
I was gonna ask you that too.
That's a big difference.
So when I'm like, who is doing all of these like from young to now? Like was it just your one man show or did your parents help out? Like did they did your parents ever like peek in and be like, what's going on in here? You know, like
my mom would always be pretty aware of what I was doing. She would always watch all my videos and support and give her input.
How did she react when you start getting all this traffic and all this money and all this attention? Like how?
It was so weird because at first it was like you're done. You're not doing this. It's not okay. You're gonna get kidnapped. You're gonna get all this stuff overprotective. And then the first time she ever saw it in person, I already had like 50,000 subscribers and. I don't want to say that's not a lot because it's really hard to get 50,000 subscribers, but I was definitely not as big as a lot of the other YouTubers, but nonetheless, I had a meet and greet actually here in New York City, and she came with me because I couldn't check into hotels by myself. I was 16, so she came with, and she saw it, and it was like, she was like, "What? This is the coolest thing!" Like I had fans like asking her to sign stuff, and she was like, "Okay," and she literally would like print like "Mama Win" on it, and so like it became like something that was cool to all of us. Like I'd put my friends in videos, and then they'd come with me to these meet and greets I'd have, and they'd be signing stuff. Like not every single person, but like 5
getting
kids that were like
involved.
really involved. And be like, "Hey, like Josh, can you sign it?" And like these are other like regular high school kids from Vegas, like same as me. Like it wasn't like I was never like super caught up in like the like celebrity part of it because I was like that was never
the intention. It was always just the art of selling and the entrepreneurship. And
like a lot of creators, what they do is like every creator pretty much is the same. They start it because they love making videos, so they want to film them, create them, edit them, all that stuff. Like I'm very aware of like the production that goes behind stuff. Like I know lighting and camera and going like angles and microphone, like all that kind of stuff. Like I'm really aware of it, but at the same time, from basically the point where I could afford it, like based on the YouTube income, I like hired an editor, hired a videographer, hired all those things. And then the flip side is every influencer has a manager that deals with all their brand deals and then takes 10% off the top. I was like, I'm gonna manage myself, devote more time to myself than any manager I could get would. Not lose 10%, get way bigger, and have the brand deals and all the other ones.
You better know.
I was my own manager, and it worked really, really well. And that's kind of what put me in the position to start the agency. It wasn't just like I have these like celebrity athlete friends and I have a few brands in my contact list that I've worked with. It was like, no, I really know how to manage talent on a level of like acquiring sponsorships and coming up with marketing campaigns. Even on the creative side, like I was still involved with all the creative, I just didn't hold the camera and first person vlog as much as most people do, and I didn't edit stuff after the first 8-9 months. Like I edited my way on iMovie to like 100K. Like I didn't know how to edit.
We're on that wave too. Like we thankfully have like some editors that could come in here and then like if you do a favor for one, like I'll come to your event if you edit for me, or I'll do social media if you edit. But I've been teaching myself how to edit too, so that I could be on that wave and not depend on no one else.
That's what
But I started with iMovie. Is like I think everyone starts with iMovie.
You have to.
It's the easiest one.
It works.
It's the easiest one.
That's what my girlfriend's using now. She's starting and she's using it.
It's so handy. Shout out to Blake Girl in there.
And you learn how to use it, and then honestly, like everyone's like, well, you can't edit well enough to get to 100K with iMovie. I'm like, no, you can edit well enough to get to like 10 million with iMovie. I just did it, but you can. It's just like
so you know. If you didn't know, now you know. Right here in New York, those Blake Wynn. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. All right, so then the agency, and that's like your main focus right now.
Yeah. So I'm actually in the middle right now of kind of moving. I got a place in Vegas. I'm building out the agency out there. That's where my business license is based out of. That's where my COO of my company is, like my right-hand guy.
Yes, I was reading is one of your friends.
Yes.
Childhood friends.
Yeah, so we went to school together starting when we were 3 years old in preschool.
I love that because we're very, like, in New York, looks like we went to high school together. Like,
really?
I'm really all about, like, putting on your friends. Like, of course, there's only certain friends you can work with that, you have to know. But it's like, I think that's such a beautiful thing, like, to just share that plate with your friends that have been there.
Yeah, especially when it's like, because I've like done other businesses, it's more so like I feel like I can also provide him personally with value because even if he doesn't work with me or whatever forever, he'll learn so much because he's not just like coming into a startup where none of us really know anything. I was like, this is like very like structured out, like this is how it works. So he's like learning a lot, associating with these kinds of people. His contact list is growing super quickly, and so we both dropped out of school. So I'm not going back to Fordham. He's not going back to
I saw that too. Wait, so he is in Las Vegas too?
Yeah.
He's the COO of the agency.
Yeah.
Okay. And does he want to come to New York?
So originally we were going to move out to New York.
Right.
But the initial team that we've hired out of about 6 people is going to be based out of Las Vegas. Because that's where the company's based out of.
So you're building a team too?
Yeah.
Or is that already set?
No, well the team is set.
Okay,
but
nice.
like really like getting into the flow of it is what's undergoing right now. So there's like a lot of moving parts. Like the company's not even a year old.
Yes.
So there's a lot of moving parts. And
not even a year old and you already have 30 plus clients.
Yeah, just signed one today actually.
Amazing.
Shout out to
Yes! Man, I'm like so in awe. Like I read up on you, but like hearing it like live is just so inspiring. I just want to go to my computer and just finish editing my videos because I'm so inspired. Okay, so and I'm sure like having him as a friend also like trust.
Yeah.
I'm sure in a business like this, I'm like, trust is very important.
Yeah.
So, and loyalty. So
I think that like not even so much that I don't really even care if one day he goes, Blake, I'm out. Like that's fine. Like I'm trying to like set him up in a place where he's good to go. Because the flip side is, to a certain extent, like Brock, don't get any ideas if you're watching this, but like to a certain extent, like I want to be at the point in a year from now, or 2 years from now, 3 years from now, where like I would never let him go unless something dramatic happened. Like he's doing phenomenally. But if he said, I'm out, I got a way better opportunity, I don't want to be like, I want to have a strong enough business where I can take it. So I'm okay with like, so that's where the loyalty comes in. It's like, I don't really need people who are ridiculously loyal, because I want to have a business that's more of a machine where it's like, you want to be loyal because it's the best opportunity. And if you do get one that's better, then go take it, right? Like the point is to help. It's the same way with our clients. So like, we're the only sports marketing agency that's non-exclusive. So like, if you're an athlete and you sign with us, you can go sign with another sports marketing company. They probably won't let you because they probably want you to be exclusive. But I'm like, I get what it was like to be an influencer or have a following and have these managers come out of the woodworks and be like, I get 10% of everything I bring you. I'll bring you a lot, but only I can make you money. So that everything goes through me. I'm taking 10% off of every cent you make. I'm like, go sign your contract with your team. Go get yourself brand deals. Go do this, go do this. We're helping, right? So I take that like same philosophy and apply it to the people that work for me, the people I work with, the brands everything. It's like, if you can go do better, go do better. But the flip side is, I'm gonna be the best, so you're gonna have to go with me. Like so it's like
exactly,
very,
where it's just like, you can go, but I mean, do you really want to?
Like you're gonna go to something that's not as good. Hopefully.
Oh man. Okay, so because you're 19 right now, so I also, you were in Fordham, you there for like maybe half a semester, not even a couple days. So like, let's talk about that. Like you have this established businesses, you did your whole application, you're thinking of going to Fordham, which is amazing. I had a couple friends who went there. You got accepted to a really great entrepreneurship program through Fordham, and you're in your dorm room, you have a roommate?
Yeah.
Okay.
For 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then I moved out.
So how was, like, talk about your first night in your dorm room with, with everything going on.
I'll be honest about it.
No, please be honest.
I haven't really talked about it.
This is the New York Dose. You can curse here, you can do whatever,
No, I mean, it's not that serious. Okay, so the truth is this. So I moved in, obviously very, very far from home.
Yes.
I knew my roommate going into it. We had like met online. He flew to Vegas in June, previous to me moving in, just to like meet him, spent 5 days there. I liked him, so that was cool. Yeah, the roommate was cool.
I didn't do that with my roommate. We met in the summer for like a week, and then we were like, we're gonna be.
Yeah, that's like basically what happened. And he was fine, still cool. Like I still talk to him, but so I move in. And I had so much stuff off the bat, because keep in mind, like I was a sneaker like fashion YouTuber. Like at home I had like a recording studio like that I basically built out myself in my house of like I was so worried about the details. Like I had like the littlest like Supreme or whatever knickknacks everywhere, because it was like, if you're watching me, I want you to be able to see stuff behind. Like I said, like hyper like aware of the details. And so I moved in, I put all this stuff set up so I could film videos in there. And as soon as I was done unpacking, because I kind of had fun moving in and like finding where to put stuff in like an 8 square foot space, like 45 pairs of shoes and 2 closets and stuff in this like glorified cupboard. And so after I moved in, I like I'll never forget, I like sat down on my bed, I like looked out the window, I was on the basement floor of this dorm, and I went to the Bronx campus. I didn't go to the Manhattan campus, and I sat down and I was like, no, this wasn't it.
After you put every looking
But this is why. It wasn't like college isn't for me. It wasn't like having to live in a dorm is not for me. Like I don't feel like I was like in any way, shape, or form better than anybody else. It was like I didn't move to New York to like live in the Bronx. Like I moved to New York to like grow my business. And like I honestly like didn't even like understand, like I knew that the Bronx wasn't in Manhattan, but like I don't even think I was aware of what I was doing. I was just so eager. I was like, I need to be in New York to grow my business. Like I had.
Was it your first time coming to New York ever, or you?
No, I've been so many times.
So many times.
I honestly could have just done more research, but I was like so set on like I'm leaving Vegas. I'm going to New York. Like,
yes.
I honestly got into schools that are higher ranked than Fordham. I was like, I have to go to New York. My mom was very unhappy with my decision. Honestly, she wanted me to go to. She went to USC in Los Angeles, and I was able to get in there, so she wanted me to go there as well. And
yeah.
I was committed there and then decommitted and chose Fordham instead. And I was like, you shouldn't have chose this. Like if you wanted to be here this badly, this is not what you came for. You came to grow your business. So literally the second I finished unpacking, I downloaded Street Easy, which is like an app to find apartments in New York.
Yes.
Started looking. 2 weeks later I found a place, and it took a month to like close everything.
Yeah,
so I moved to like 56th Street.
Okay. Midtown?
Yeah, right, Midtown. Like I could see the park. I was
sorry,
like, see,
Midtown
this is why I moved
like
there.
Midtown. I like
I don't like it
Side
anymore
or
either.
Because it's too much tourists. It's too much,
Exactly.
and it's like very old New York. Like you know, like I appreciate like you work in Midtown.
Yeah.
But you know.
I didn't know that.
But good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. So I moved in and I was like, okay, this is closer to what I want. But like I would go home. First, I was like an hour commute each way to class. I would go home and then I have to write.
From the Bronx to Midtown, yeah.
I'd have to write papers and things like that, and I was like, over time, it just ate away at me more. I'm like, this is still not why you moved here. And I mean, there was like definitely pluses though. Like I made a few friends. I met my girlfriend there, but like really like. I didn't feel like I was getting a lot out of it, and the reason why is because it's not because I didn't feel like I could learn either.
Right.
I was always a decent student. I was just like, I'm going to school to get a degree in entrepreneurship. So I'm getting a degree that says I'm qualified to work for myself. I feel qualified to work for myself. I don't really know I don't really need to show myself a piece of paper to like give myself a job. And I was like, right now I honestly have enough opportunities, enough income, enough everything else. I'd rather give this a go because I don't know that I'll have these opportunities when I'm 24. Exactly. And ideally I'd have way bigger opportunities when I'm 24. Yes. And that won't come from standing still and going down the traditional path, which I'm not knocking, but like I didn't personally feel like it was in my best interest to do that. And so that's why I left. And
YOLO, like you only live once, like God knows if you get the next day, you know, like
and you know, I'm so much happier now, and like really like.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah, my mom was like, well, what are you gonna do if everything fails? You need a job, you don't have a degree, you don't have this. I was like, I'll start something else.
That degree, I mean, everyone, if you're in college, like great, like. But you honestly don't need a degree. You know what I'm saying? Like you just really don't. Like I went to college and the most I took out of it was the relation. Like I have friends like we're now 10 years in. Like made like I had relationships that taught me so much. It was more of like of a personal like growth experience than actual academic experience for me as well because I had bigger dreams as well. So it's just like it's just not for anyone, and it's okay if it's not for you.
Yeah,
so, like it's okay, totally. And it will always be there. College is a business, so you can always go back to it.
That's my thing too. Is it's like at the end of the day, like these colleges, especially the private ones, like they're businesses. Like their purpose is to take your money and profit off of it to give you something that is not worth as much value as you're putting into it. Like that's literally the premise of like the system, and like that's one thing that I talk about to like my friends, my family a lot is like when I'm older, I want to run for some kind of political office, like genuinely just to like change the education system. Please, because I hated it my whole life more than anything, and that's one thing like me and Brock have in common very much. So is like he was the same way, and growing up pre-K through 12, always didn't like the way stuff was done. Did well, like we were lucky, like the school was small enough that it put you in a position to be successful, which is good and taught you a lot, but we both hated every step of the way. It was just like,
I just feel like you could just always go back if you wanted to, and you're chilling.
I think it's something that probably has a lot of research behind it, but I think even subconsciously, school trains you to be a really good employee in the sense of like, you literally go sit there 7 hours a day, like the subconscious is like having a schedule, like being willing to sit still at a desk and listen / do for 7 hours.
Take notes or like whatever.
Like you're not creating anything. Like no one, if you think about it, like in no classroom environment besides maybe when you're in high school at like a wood shop, like whatever.
Art. Like unless you go to an art school. I went to one.
Yeah, I mean, right. Okay, so there's difference between like learning a trade and like just learning regular stuff. Like, think about it like when you're sitting in European history, you're sitting in science, you're sitting in...
Oh my God,
what do you...
I was dying.
No, and a lot of people like it, and I'm not knocking it at all. I didn't like some of those classes.
I didn't like it.
Like, you're given assignments, you don't create your own assignment, so there's not a lot of room for exploration, there's not a lot of room to really differentiate yourself from your classmates, unless, honestly, you do horribly. Like, you don't differentiate yourself by getting, like, A's or B's, you differentiate yourself by getting F's. Not in a good way, but that's the only way to not literally just be like everybody else. Exactly. And I think in school you should try to be like everybody else in that regard, but at the same time, like, Gary Vee failed out, like a lot of successful people failed out, a lot of successful people went through Harvard. It's like, it's such a personal thing. It's so not based on the system.
And I hate that there's such a standard for like everyone when everyone learns so much differently than you and I, so it's crazy. So I want to know just like a day-to-day currently now of Blake Wynn's life.
It's so, when I'm in New York or Vegas, because there's the
so you're kind of like
I have a place 50, in both.
50. Okay, so but you're mostly...
Right now I'm mostly here. Shortly I'm going to be mostly in Vegas.
Okay, let's just do New York since we're in New York. Yeah.
Oh,
day to day. Wake up from the
outside looking in, it's so uneventful, honestly. Like, you can ask her, like, literally, like, I wake up, so I have a very weird thing. I'll stay up as late as I want, and I'll sleep as late as I want. There's enough hours in the day to get everything done always, is my philosophy. Like, I'm not, like, the kind of entrepreneur that's like, you have to be up at 6. I'm like, I might have stayed up till 6, and so I'm going to sleep till noon. Like, I don't think, if I have a meeting or something, of course, but, so I'll wake up, and I probably won't move for the next 3 hours. I'll literally pick up my computer off the ground, sit on my lap, respond/write, probably...
That's the first thing you do, pick up your laptop.
Pick up my phone first. Yeah, phone for about 20 minutes. All my DMs, all my texts.
I actually was trying to, because I'm the same way too. Like, I'm always like, because I do all the marketing for New York stuff, so I'm always like, I'm on it. But they say for at least the moment you wake up to not look at your phone at least for like 20 to 30 minutes. Because something with the lights.
No.
There's enough time in the day, so you do a little meditation or something and then pick up your phone. They say something about the lights, and then also it's just like, I guess, everyone's mind, but they say like you're already starting to compare yourself, trying to see what's out there, and like already when it's just like you should just wake up, you should just chill. But this is Blake Wynn's life.
I think it's different depending on who you are. Like, I think that, like, for example, I feel like I have enough control over my own emotions that like, I don't ever feel like I'm comparing myself to anybody. I'm never like, I'm going to start this and try to be like at least as good as this person. I'm like, I'm doing my thing. So I'm never caught up in that. So I feel like psychologically, like from an emotional perspective, I'm fine. I get the lights thing, and that probably isn't good for you, but I pick up my phone, then 20 minutes, I'll check all my DMs, all my texts, missed calls. Won't call them back yet, because I'm like not yet. And then I do all my emails, and like typically a given day is probably 75, I call them like reach out emails, so I'm emailing somebody that I don't know. Like, for example, like coming on this podcast, I straight up, that was a DM, so that wasn't an email, but same thing, it was like, hey, like, would love to be on your show, like, I think it's really cool, I know it's in New York City, I'm gonna be here for a couple weeks, like, would love to make it happen. Because there's never, I don't want to just be in front of people, I want to be in peripherals. Like, to me, like, that's why it's cool to get press releases and then be on podcasts and then have my own channels and then, have athletes posting about me, whatever it is, just as much attention drawn to the platform and the brand as possible. So I do a lot of reach outs, about 75 of them. Right now I'm actually lining up a lot of guests for my podcast, which I'm releasing in August. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm making like a tour right now, trying to go on as many podcasts as possible, and just honestly, while I'm sitting here, like I'm answering questions that have quite honestly been asked before, like maybe not on camera and stuff, so it's kind of exclusive, but like I'm answering questions that I'm used to answering, or at least thinking about in my head, because I'm always just thinking,
for now,
like, daydreaming.
The second half, we're gonna have some more cool questions for you.
I'm ready for it. Okay, I'm ready for it. But at the same time, while I'm doing that, I'm really just like watching how you interview me, because I'm trying to learn. And like that's the thing, is like I could watch podcasts from home and learn, but luckily like I have a platform that's allowed me to be a guest on people's podcasts, and I learn better like this. I like everything like that I'm hyper aware of right now, like the same thing I was talking about, like watching the way that like simply like facial expressions, the questions you ask me, like everything you're doing, like I'm trying to like absorb it like figure out what's really good about it, and then apply that to what I'm trying to do. And so,
I mean, you should do that in any space. Anyone should do that in any space that you're in, especially in the field that you want to get into. Go to, like, I was going to just being audience members in like 2RL and stuff like that, and looking at the hosts, like, okay, how they're looking at the camera, how they're sitting, you know, like the same way. Like, I think that's so important and key to like anything that you want to do. Like,
100%.
Finding someone who's already doing it and studying them as much as you can. Of course, the good things.
Especially
things that will work for you that you think, exactly.
So I was like, I want to make sure I come on this one and a few others that I'm going to be doing. And honestly, like, the second part of that is then I'll stand up, right? And then I'll stand up. It'll be 3 o'clock.
All your 100 emails, and you just go straight down.
Yeah, I'll have like 100 email inbox. And then on top of that, like,
no interns.
No, I have other. No, this is my personal. Yeah,
your personal.
Everybody else is dealing with as many emails, if not more, because like that's their job. Like for me, it's more like I'll get an email from like my right hand guy, or from editing, whatever it is, or companies that want to do sponsorships. I'm thinking it was your whole all your companies. I'm like, sheesh. No, so right now a lot of my emails that have been back and forth is luckily like, so I'm posting the podcast on my YouTube channel, so I have like a very unique opportunity where I can get my podcast sponsored from day one.
Yes.
So right now I'm coordinating getting all the sponsors for my podcast at the same time, doing all the big collaborations for my agency. Like, so we're doing a big one with the WWE right now for all of our athletes. One of them is actually going to like get in the ring. Like, it's a whole
thing. Is awesome.
And it's really just neat. Like, I love what I do, and I love like sitting around and emailing and being on phone calls and things like that. And because the flip side is when I don't want to do those things, like I don't have to, you know, like, I mean, to a certain extent I do, like sometimes I'll be doing something that I'm really enjoying and like, okay, like I need to take this call kind of thing, but for the most part, like that is the stuff that I really like. And then, you know, I'll spend time with my girlfriend, I'll go do different things, and a lot of it is also like delegating, like, hey, can you do this? Weirdly, I have a super weird thing. My first meal of the day is at 7 p.m. My second meal of the day is at midnight, every day, swear to God.
I mean,
no real snacks in between. Yeah, like six days a week.
What is that called? Like intermediate fasting?
I'm not.
They say the millennials call it intermediate fasting.
I'm not.
You're starving yourself. Like,
I'm not. I don't get hungry.
Do you feel good? I mean, sometimes in the morning I can't eat. Like, I just don't feel hungry, or I just have like a juice or something. But you don't eat. You eat at 7 p.m. then at 12 a.m.
Yeah. It's 5 to 7 days a week.
5 to 7 days a week.
Like today, I ate at like 4. Haven't eaten since, and I'm gonna have my second meal at like 10.
You don't tell him to eat.
I doesn't wake up until like 1.
Yeah, no, like I'll seriously, like there's days where 1's a little late. Like I'll usually sleep till about 11, on most days, unless I have like meetings. Like there's like a couple days ago I had a meeting actually I'm doing some work with the Los Angeles Chargers, so I do a lot of consulting, which I don't really consider a business. I consider it more so a trade that I'm able to sell my time for expertise. And so I had a call with the Chargers, and that was at 8 a.m. So I wake up, it's whatever it is. Yeah.
But okay. So
a lot of traveling too, and those days are way different. Like I probably am on 8 to 12.
Are you eating when you're traveling? Because you're moving.
A little bit better. A little bit better. Yeah. Because when I'm at home, I have access to the snacks at midnight. Yeah. They're not snacks. Like I'll make like frozen meals, or I'll Postmates whatever's open. Yeah. Versus when I'm out on the road, like I'll eat like a normal person. But I'm probably out of town or not at home for probably like 14 to 20 days a month on average. Okay. It's a lot of traveling.
That's a lot of traveling.
Going to players' camps, going to games during the season.
Your miles will be crazy.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? 2 weeks ago, my last flight, I just signed up for mileage, so I have not collected anything for the last 5 years of traveling everywhere. Yeah, probably would be flying for free for the next 3 years if I hadn't done that, but it happens. But yeah, every day is different. Every day, the biggest thing, and like this is what I tell everyone who wants to be an entrepreneur, is I was like, there's 2 sides of it. You get to decide what you do, when you do it, how you do it. Flip side is if you're not good at that, you're screwed.
Yes, which is self-discipline.
Right. It's like, because I could be like, you know what, I'm tired today. I actually would rather go do nothing ever. Just sit at home and do nothing and like.
Or like, I'll do it tomorrow.
The problem is I can't because like I'll literally like my inbox will get so big, like my to-do list will get so big. I'll miss meetings and sponsors will be like, okay, well we're not interested if you flake on our meeting.
Right.
You really don't care that much, and then costs you money, costs you connections, costs you time. It's like,
is it worth it? Like,
yeah, and sometimes I do take vacations and I'll schedule those, right? Like I'll be like, I will not book meetings. So yeah, I have to look at my phone, but I won't book.
Because a lot of people will be on the go and forget about like actual rest is needed, like physically for your body and like mental state too. Like even if you feel like you're good, I feel like it's always good to take like just a little bit of a rest to just recharge. And
I don't want to burn out. And like a lot of entrepreneurs take that stance of you work really hard for 40 years to live like other people don't live for the next 40. Mm-hmm. I'm like, and part of it's like, I'm lucky enough to have been financially successful already. So at 19, I'm like, honestly, like, I'll never like feel this good when I wake up. I'll never be able to like do the kind of stuff I can do now. Like, you know, I don't want to start traveling the world when I'm 50 and my knees hurt and everything else. It's like, I want to travel when I'm 19 and that's
like my
fun
left knee hurts now. I'm 30.
Yeah.
I just turned 30.
I'm gonna have horrible bones.
It's all right.
I'm gonna have arthritis when I'm like 23. Like I've broken everything playing football growing up, so I don't really want to wait, you know.
Yes.
And my thing is like you said earlier, you live once. I could die tomorrow. Like, if I've literally like one time, I'll give you like a really stupid story, but to put it in perspective, like I've literally like I went to a museum with my girlfriend this year.
Which one? In New York?
Yeah, it's called the Frick Collection.
Frick.
It's on like the Upper East Side. It's like it's like in between like a museum and a gallery-ish. Like it's a museum, but literally like I walked in and I've never really traveled to Europe, and I was like, this like feels like Europe. I want to go. And she was like, oh, like okay, like we'll book a trip. I was like, okay. So I look at my phone and like she's like doing her own thing, like looking at the pieces, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go tonight to Barcelona. And she's like, no, I have school, because I was not in school. She was in school, and actually no, I was in school. This is why I had to leave school actually. So we went to Barcelona like the next morning.
Oh, you went?
We went, yeah.
I mean, I would have been like, fuck school.
Well, the problem is we did the fuck school thing like a week previous to go to like Atlantis or Miami. She was out of her fuck school passes, so we went.
Oh man, you see things like that, like those.
That's a better story. When I'm 30, I'll remember that. I won't remember like pre-calc 3. I don't know what to call. You know what I mean? Like, who cares?
All right. So do you? I mean, you're young. You know, there's always this like stereotype that you're, young people out partying and stuff. Are you in that scene or not really? I mean, I read that you don't really care too much for that, but
I mean,
popping bottles out here in New York.
No, I unofficially make an appearance or two. But here's the thing. I go because
appearances.
not paid, but like I probably paid you.
Right. You should look into that. Do one or two.
I actually did do them a few times when I was like really into the YouTube space. I did like 2 or 3 club appearances, but like it was very like strict, like in and out, like I had security watching. But no, like I do go from time to time because my athletes go. So I go with my athletes and it's relationship building. Like people have no idea like how much of connecting with athletes is surrounded around partying with them. So I do, right? I'm not gonna like lie and say that I don't. I don't do some of the things that some people do when they go out, but
Well, not of course. I don't know you, but
I don't. I can tell you that now. I don't. But yeah.
He's just saying that now on camera, but it's okay.
I don't. But yeah. I mean, and the thing is too is we've even hosted something. So my agency, we were lucky enough this past May, we actually went to Atlantis and did like a B Wynn Sports event, had a few of our athletes come out, and you only have to be 18 there, so I can talk more about that and feel kind of comfortable talking about it. You have to be 18, so yeah, I mean like drink a little bit, gamble, because you're allowed to gamble there when you're 18, played some blackjack and stuff, like had a good time, and like the relationship that I have with both of there's actually 3 players. The 3 players that came with us, it was me, my right-hand guy, 2 YouTubers that are good friends of mine, and then 3 of our athlete clients came with us, and I mean, such a good time. Like our relationship after that has been so much closer, and like that's why they want to work with me, because they could go to like these big machine agencies, but the difference is the amount of time and resources and money and everything else that I allocate to them is disproportional compared to them, because they're not Odell Beckham. They're regular NFL players that are still ridiculously talented, ridiculously successful, ridiculously smart. So my guys, like, I'm very careful. Like, there's a lot of athletes that are obviously not that smart, but there's a lot of athletes that are very smart, and I have the athletes that are very smart. Like, I've been very selective with who I sign, not from the perspective of what team they're on, or it's like, do I want to work with you? Because I will put you in a position to be successful. I'm not really so worried about that, as opposed to, quite honestly, like, do I want to make you financially successful from a marketing perspective? Like, I don't want to do it with someone who's like a jerk and isn't smart enough to understand things. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of our guys, you know, not even necessarily went to good schools, but like, they're just really good people. You know, like, I love, like the smallest things that, like, I really pay attention to. For example, even this past Saturday, I introduced a few players to my girlfriend, and it wasn't so much like, hey, I need you to come meet this person. They were like, I said hi, and they said hi to her. Like, that subtle,
those
like,
little things, ooh, that's everything to me.
Even like the way you guys did, like, introducing yourselves to her, like, that
it's just
means
you
a
think
lot.
that people have those common, like, courtesy, but
they don't.
There's a lot of people who don't, but those little things will make me want to work with somebody.
Exactly.
Like,
so,
you know, like,
those are the details. Like I said, like, I'm super worried about the detail stuff. Like,
especially with that, like, and coming into a space, like, you know, like, I like to feel welcomed, and like, you don't have to, like, shower me with stuff, but just, like, you know, acknowledge eye-to-eye contact, like, that's so important. Oh man, I'm loving this.
These I assume, are these getting into the questions that you don't think I've been asked before? Because I haven't been asked that on camera. I don't mind answering it. I'll say whatever.
D, my co-host, is coming through right now to ask the second half of the questions, but I just want to ask one more. What is something you wish you could have done better in the past that now you learned, like, that you could do, like, something you wish that you could do better from a mistake that you learned in the past? Like, what lessons have you, please scratch this out. What have been one of the most challenging experiences you had?
I have such a stupid answer for this question, to be honest with you. Like, it's such a stupid question. Like, not a stupid question. It's, No, it's not a stupid question, but, like, I have such a cliche, like, dumb answer, which is that, like, had I not, like, had the micro failures or, like, learned the stuff, like, whether it was like, losing money, losing experience, losing whatever, like, I've needed every single drop of what I've gone through to be able to be where I am. Like, if you remove something, it's like, I don't know, like, I would like to have not, to give you a perfect example, like, I invested a lot in a project that I was going to do for my YouTube channel, and I probably lost like $30,000 worth of stuff, like, never even posted it, because I was like, this is a horrible look, like, all this other stuff. But I was like, had I not done that, I probably would have made that kind of mistake now with my sports agency, except the difference would have been, because back then, $30,000 was pretty much as bad as the mistake could be, because I didn't really have any more money to lose as far as, like, what I was willing to put into it. Now, maybe I could have invested more, and then I had to pay more for the lesson. You know what I mean? So it's like, I honestly am glad that especially now, like, at this point, I'm like, please let me fail, because I'd rather fail now than when I'm 40 and I have kids and I have a wife, and it's like, no spring break trip this year. I just love
your attitude, and like, you're not afraid to fail. Like, you're not, like, I just love your energy and all.
I just feel like I'm playing with, like, house money, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like realistically, like, I'm where I would like to be when I'm like 35. Had I known this when I was 8, right? When I was 8, I'd be like, if I'm that guy when I'm 35, I'm cool. So I look at it as I'm 16 years ahead of where I would have wanted to be. Yeah. So it's like, at this point, like, I can fuck around and mess up a little bit, you know what I mean? And then I still play.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Blake.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
All right, what up, everybody? It's the conductor of the train, your boy DJ SJ614. Here with Blake. We're gonna get into our subway system here on the New York.
Started over because my laugh came out. I'm sorry.
Shut up.
I feel that's good.
Right, keep it going. Don't cut my tape. Thank you very much. So we're gonna take the subway with Blake here, okay? Here with the New York Dills, you know how we give it up. So first, we're gonna get on the 2 train. This is 2 for your mistakes, all right? Okay. So I want you to either be bold and put yourself on the train and fess up a mistake that you've made recently, or you can be a little sassy and put someone else on the 2 train that made a mistake in your life. So which one do you want to go for?
What do you mean, put someone else that made a mistake in my life?
Yeah, and this is just, you are basically putting that person on blast. You're like,
oh, I was supposed to blast?
Yeah, you're like, yo, this person, because A, B, C, this, that, and the third. I'll let you think
Oh,
about that.
man. All right, so if I get on the train, I gotta say something that I did. That's
Yeah.
Right?
No.
I'd rather rat somebody else.
I love that. I'm with that.
Okay. So I gotta say something that someone did to me, like they kind of did me a little bit dirty.
Yeah.
This is a trick situation. It's like, in one hand, I'm like, yeah, like I'll say anything, and then the other hand, I'm like, that could have repercussions. So, oh man.
At the New York Dose, we're bold. We keep it honest.
You can tell that you guys didn't prep me for this.
I know, yeah.
Like,
we never prep anyone.
I'm like sitting here like filtering through ideas.
Going through the Rolodex of, okay, which one is not going to get me in trouble? Yeah. Yeah, we like that authenticity, you know?
This one's tough. Can I nominate you to step on the 2 train?
You want me to step on the 2 train?
Yeah.
Okay, I will say, the people on the road today. It was raining. It was a very windy day. Our guy Kwame knows about this. I haven't had road rage in a long time, but I really caught it good today driving here. I feel like everybody was just, the brain was on 0 on the way here. So everybody around me was making a severe mistake on my way here. I took that train ride for you. We are going to transfer over to the 3 train. Now this is 3 for me. I want you to tell me an epiphany that you've had recently. What aha moment came over you lately?
My mom will love this one. So my aha moment recently was that my mom, while she thinks she knows what's best for me, has gotten to live her own life. So now I've decided very recently that, like, probably within the last couple months, that like I get to just control my life and really do things in a way that she is now like kind of started to like accept, but before didn't.
Oh.
So now I've had the epiphany that like I can make my own mistakes.
You're taking the reins. Yeah, cool.
We're cool.
All right, I like
Parents
that.
don't always know what's best.
They don't. You know, they made their own choices. Now you got to make yours.
Yeah.
You got to make ours. I like that.
Oh man, these trains. I'm gonna get hit by the train when they go off.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. It gets easier. So we're gonna transfer over to the 5 train. This is 5 for guys. Okay. I want you to give us a public service announcement or some advice to the rest of the guys out there in the world. What is one thing that you wish that you can tell them right now?
Be a good guy, you know. Like a lot of guys are not good people. My girlfriend's like slapping her face, like I don't know if that means I'm not a good guy. I fucking am. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I like that.
Don't do like drugs that'll really fuck you up. I don't know.
Don't do the hard drugs. Just do the light
ones.
Weed only, okay?
Oh.
Come on. I love that. We're gonna transfer over to the 6 train. On that same regard, this is 6 for chicks. What is some advice that you wanna give out there to the ladies?
You're not better than the guys. A lot of
his girlfriend is like engaged. She's like, you're not better than us.
I'm not saying that we're better, but like, you know,
we're equal. Yeah, that's what we're all fighting for, right? Like equality. Yeah. No, calm down. Okay, I love it. We are now going to transfer over to the L train. Okay. Now, I must ask you, do you know the term taking the L? Do you know what that means? Okay, I want you to tell me about an L that you took recently.
This part of the interview doesn't count. I mean, I get like literal, I'll be honest, I sometimes bet on sports, and I've recently not been winning a lot.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you a real L. Moving from New York to Las Vegas took a financial L.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
Yeah, that sucks.
When did you do that?
Doing it right now.
Oh,
in the process.
You're leaving us?
Not really leaving, more so like just moving. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so definitely.
All right.
Definitely keep your moves to a minimum.
I can see that, you know, Las Vegas, New York, you know.
Yeah. Another L is saying that girls aren't better than guys, with my girlfriend sitting right here.
Yeah.
That's alright. Things happen. You own up to it. See, that's you getting on the 2 train and owning up to your mistake.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
That's my 2 chain
It comes
ride.
back.
I was getting way deeper with it than that. I was like, whose career's over? See?
I love it. We're going to transfer over to the W train, and I want you to tell me about a win that you've had recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
It gets positive.
My girlfriend's laughing after just what I said, so now we're coming back into the W section.
We're coming back.
Yeah, I don't know. In business, definitely everything's going good.
Good, great.
You guys probably heard on the podcast. Personal life stuff, you know what? I'll chat it back with my mom, kind of reconcile what I just messed up right there.
Yeah.
Moving back to Vegas, my mom lives in Vegas, so I'm gonna spend time with her, so that's
there you go. That's yeah. It's always good to see mommy.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes for a little small amount of time. And then you
Yeah.
We're gonna transfer over to the M train. All right, this is the last train in our subway system. I want you to tell us about what meme or thing or GIF or GIF or viral video that you are really gravitating toward right now.
Gravitating towards?
Yeah.
Well, give me some examples of what's going viral right now.
Oh my God.
Bottle cap challenge? No.
Okay, no. But we've got the bottle cap challenge thing going around. That's a good. What is hot right now?
Yeah. Megatron. That's the Minaj fans.
Nicki Minaj's thing.
I think right now we're very in between like some real big things happening. Like there was the Yodel kid, then there was like there's a few big ones, and then there's like a couple months of like dead space.
You're right. Yeah. Now that I think about it, there has been some dead space recently.
Yeah.
Well, what has been your favorite one ever then? I'll tell you mine to give you some time.
Okay.
I don't think anything is gonna top. This is kind of fucked up, but like that moment when Wendy Williams fainted on live TV. But like all of the memes that they created after it of her just like in that Statue of Liberty costume and just being like, she like has like the That's So Raven flashback and she's like, and then she comes back and she's like. So that's my personal fave.
Man, that reminded me of, all right, not political at all. I'm not trying to touch that, but a really funny one to me was in the last election cycle. There was obviously there's like Trump and Hillary, and there's a third guy, Gary Johnson. A lot of people if you're in politics know about it. He has a very strong stance that weed should be legal. So he's getting this interview. And they're like, we should be legal. And he's like, why? He's like, it can cause heart attacks and stuff like that. Like, if you smoke weed, it leads to heart attacks. And he faked a heart attack on stage. Like, straight fell. It went super viral. It was like the funniest thing ever. Like, on live TV, like, in the middle of a presidential debate, they were like, so you want this stance and they can kill you, blah, blah. He goes, and just straight up falls out the seat. And it was the funniest.
Oh, I love that. Okay, you got
to insert the clip, right?
Right. Boop, there he is. All right, that was crazy. Well, thank you for joining us on our subway ride.
Yeah,
very much. And the last thing that we want to leave off on is we want to know what's one piece of advice that you have out there for anybody that might be on your career path.
Or for us.
Honestly, just always do. It's so easy to read up and prepare and study. And I'm just just do. If you mess up, you learn. If you end up doing something well, then you end up so much farther than you would by just scheming. So I don't get very caught up in staying still. Always move forward. Even if you move sideways, it's still not still.
Ooh, even if you move sideways. Come on. That's that lateral promotion. I love that.
Well, again,
thank you very much.
What?
You saw that.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it on a shirt.
You're gonna hurry up before we put this out. Everybody else does it. So once again, that's us at the New York Dolls. We have Blake Wynn with us. Adaloso, just in case you didn't know so. DJ, the conductor of the train. Stay dope.
Stay dope.
And stay New York.
It's the New York Dolls, baby.
Thank you very much.
For sure, man.